Hey, YouTube community, it's your favorite apostate and undude 2, here once again exposing Watchtower inconsistencies and freeing you from the prison of your very own mind. Now, this evening I felt it necessary to discuss the already thoroughly covered topic of new light. Now, what impelled me to do this, you may well be asking yourself. Well, you see, I ran across some rather frustrating comments from a frightfully dim dub this afternoon who insisted to me and to others that new light wasn't a problem. He insisted that new light was reasonable and understandable because who among us have not changed our opinions from time to time? Now, as apostates, you and I understand that this concept, this idea of new light, rightfully exposes Watchtower doctrines for what they are, which is inconsistent and hypocritical. But that does not change the merit of this unfortunately simple dub and his comments. Because when you think about it, who among us haven't changed our opinions at one time or another? In fact, the entire course of human history has been a series of alterations to our understanding. At one time, we all thought the earth was flat. When we saw lightning strike a tree, we supposed that it was Zeus who cast the thunder down from Mount Olympus. But our understanding changed. We moved in a more factual direction, and now we know that the earth is round. We know that lightning strikes is just an electrical discharge. We have changed our opinions. We received new light. And so maybe we should approach this topic from a different angle, a slightly altered perspective. Consider this. When new light is revealed, it means that Watchtower Corporation has been leading its members into a course that is either led in death or into a state that is not right with God. Think of the implications of that. Now, there wouldn't be an issue if Watchtower Babylon Crap Society allowed its members to carry their own opinions on the matter, if their doctrine, their dogma, was merely a suggestion rather than an absolute command. For when dubs dare to question the organization, they are shunned, they're expelled, they're punished. But what if those people were right? What if new light later revealed these individuals to have a correct understanding? Then what happens? Are they apologized to? Are they allowed to be brought back into the organization? Or is their punishment carried out nonetheless? That is where the problem lies. It is not with the mere fact that Watchtower Bible and Tract Society has altered their understanding, for we have all done that at one point or another in our lives. It is the fact that they insist that their doctrine is correct, no matter what circumstance it is in. A frequently used and probably easiest to highlight example of this is the organ transplants, which I myself have referenced on many different occasions. Now, this dub, and you know who you are, dub, I imagine you're watching this video, insisted that, well, the Watchtower was not making a factually incorrect statement. They merely updated their teaching along with technology. You see, in the 50s and the 60s, when organ transplants were still a relatively recent invention amongst humanity, the Watchtower correctly took the view and postulated that organ transplants were cannibalistic, were off limits. But think about the nature of that statement. Just because it has nothing to do with technology is my point. Cannibalism is always cannibalism, no matter how high or how low-tech the operation is. The Watchtower was not commenting on the danger of the operation, they were commenting on the morality of the issue. They changed their doctrine. Now, what does that mean? What are the implications of that new light? Well, one of two things. Either God has or has not allowed organ transplants. God does not change. Either he views them as cannibalistic or he does not. But since the Watchtower has altered their views, one of two things have happened. If God has always allowed organ transplants, and if he finds no issue with his servants who decide to receive such organs, then that means the Watchtower teaching has, even if they only slaughtered one person through their reckless and irresponsible interpretation of the scripture, that means their organization is blood guilty. Now view the same issue conversely. If God, as we speak, does not view organ transplants as moral and they are not acceptable to him, then the society, through their acceptance of this issue, is leading their servants into a course that will directly violate God's principles. Either way, Watchtower Bible and Tract Society is blood guilty. Speaking of blood, let us also contemplate the blood issue for a moment. Now, supposedly, the doctrine has not changed, the dogma remains intact, no witness has nor ever will be allowed to receive blood transfusions. But is this the case? Because over the years they have made 13 alterations to this teaching, one of which has included the allowance of blood fractions. Now, the cumulative total of these blood fractions come out to 97% of the total composition of blood. I'll refer to an illustration found in the Bible Teach book, whereupon the geniuses at Watchtower Bible and Tract Society suggest that if your doctor forbade you from putting taking alcohol into your body, would he allow you to take alcohol into your veins? And of course, they have the picture of alcohol being pumped into somebody intravenously, in like manner to a blood transfusion. However, on that same note, if this is the view that is to be taken, if God does not want us to have blood into our bodies, whether it be through our food or through a blood transfusion, then why on earth would God allow 97% of blood to be taken into our bodies? Why on earth would that doctor allow 97% of alcohol to go into you? You see, if God doesn't allow blood, even in the most extreme of circumstances, if he insists that you become a martyr, then the Watchtower is leading its members through new light into a course that directly violates God's standing. And also, if God happens to think that 97% of blood is completely allowable, if the fractions to him are not an issue, then let us also consider that until such a time when the Watchtower altered their teachings, people died. And that is the problem with New Light. If it were not for the fact that the Watchtower insists that their dogma be obeyed beyond question and viewed as absolute truth at the time, if it were not for that fact, then I imagine we apostates wouldn't have a leg to stand on. But as it is, New Light still highlights the Watchtower as the hypocrites that they are. Not only that, but it also gives us an incredible tool to point out that the Watchtower has been leading people either to death or to a position that is in direct conflict with the standards of God. And so I leave you off with the same message that I always do. Remember that life is a state of mind, no matter how much New Light you receive. I hope you enjoyed the video.